Welcome back to the Blue Collar Connection. I'm Kevin with Blue Collar Roofing. Today we're joined by Clint Bailey from Florida Farm Bureau Insurance in Ellington. We're digging into the real questions Florida homeowners have about roofing and insurance, how to earn wind mitigation credits, what the third nail means, and how secondary water barrier helps, and how to structure your policy so you're not surprised after a storm. Clint, great to have you with us.
Appreciate it, Gavin. Good to be here.
Thank you so much. So can you give us a little bit of background, tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, so I've been in the insurance industry for 11 years with Florida Farm Bureau Insurance. Have an agency there in Ellington. We service, all the North River. Actually, anywhere in the state, we can write policies. So, and that's what we do. And we're at auto, home, life, commercial, any type of policies like that.
Okay. So you say you can cover anybody in the state of Florida.
That's correct. As long as they meet our criteria, what we're currently writing, then yeah, we can do it.
Awesome. Is Florida Farm Bureau, is that just one insurance provider, or do you write multiple?
Yeah. So Florida Farm Bureau Insurance is a Florida-based homegrown insurance company.
Okay.
Started in 1946, been here writing Florida policies ever since. I do have the ability to write other carriers outside of Farm Bureau if they don't fit our mold.
Sure. Awesome. So we're going to go over a few different things. A lot of questions us as roofers, we get inside the homes when we're talking about new roofs, whether it's a hurricane, they got storm damage, hurricane caused damage to their roof, and they want to put a new roof on, but their neighbor was talking about they got to do this and they got to do that if they want to get discounts on their insurance. So we're going to dig in and try to answer some of these questions that we get a lot. And on the roofing side, if there's questions that your clients have when they call and say, hey, what do we need to look for in a roofer? Is there anything specific that we need to have done when we do our roof from the insurance perspective? And I know they kind of go hand in hand. But if there's any questions you have, feel free to ask those to me. So what are the three top drivers of Florida homeowners premiums right now?
So some of the drivers are obviously the exposure. Florida is a big island, so a peninsula that sticks out. So we're right there in the eye of the hurricane. So that's a high risk, which drives the premiums. That as well as, the amount of claims that are made each year. Reinsurance is purchased by insurance carriers. And what we try to do is maintain our policies without going into that reinsurance. And sometimes that does drive up the cost of the policies.
Sure. Okay. How much does the age of a roof really matter? We get this question a ton, and I guess you got four main categories. You got shingle roofs, tile roofs, metal roofs, and flat roofs. We get people frequently say, oh, my roof's 10 years old. Somebody said I have to get a new roof at 10 years. And then we get others that are 20 years and they say, our insurance company hasn't said anything to us. We want to keep it as long as we can. So is there a certain timeline for shingle roofs versus tile, metal? How does that work?
Absolutely. So there's not a certain life expectancy when it comes to the insurance. The risk comes, the older the roof, the more likely to have a claim. Right. So, I highly recommend that, you speak to your agent and determine which carrier you're with, what their expectations are. I can only speak on, Farm Bureau, the carrier that I write most policies with. And that is, exactly what I said. The older the roof is, the higher the risk. So, I have clients all the time. They'll say they have a 20, 30 year guarantee on their roof. Well, that may apply to the roof contract that they have, but not necessarily the insurance. Right. So the actuaries determine how many claims we have, depending on the roof age. And that's why we have more claims on the older roofs.
Okay. Let me ask you something that pertains to a roofing warranty. A lot of roofing contractors will sell with a shingle roof a 25-year all-inclusive warranty through the manufacturer. So that's going to cover leaks, labor. Essentially, the roof's covered for 25 years. Does the insurance company care about that warranty, or is it just strictly by the age?
It's strictly by the age. As far as the warranty, insurance is to be used not as a, for an example, you tires on your car, they may guarantee them for 40, 50,000 miles. When you start getting that wear on them, you're not going to take them in and trade them in. So insurance isn't a warranty. Right. So it doesn't matter with us, the life or, the warranty with the roofing company.
Okay. And that's all. That's good information, because I know some people sell on the point that, oh, well, the roof's going to be covered for 25 years. This is a 25-year roof. In reality, it's really not a 25-year roof if the insurance company isn't going to give you coverage.
Exactly.
If you can't get insurance, then what's the point of that?
You're not going to call up your roofing company at year 20 and say it's under warranty on your roof. It's just
right.
It's just not going to happen.
And so from the roofing side of things, they say that, oh, it's a 25-year warranty. That's, all fine and dandy. But 9 times out of 10, what causes leaks with a 20-year-old roof is not going to be covered under that warranty. So for everything that they cover, there's 3 things that they don't cover.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that. But some people pay a lot of extra money for these warranties, thinking in their mind, okay, I'm going to be good for a long time, and I can give this to my insurance company and, say, hey, my roof's covered for 25 years. Well, if the insurance company doesn't care about that, then that's not a good reason to purchase that warranty.
Yeah, I would agree 100%.
From the roofing side, those warranties can be good to give us, a homeowner that is wanting to sell in the, fairly near future, 5-6 years. It gives them a good selling point because they're able to sell that home with an additional warranty. So for the roof, from the insurance perspective, it's still new enough that they don't have to worry about coverage, but they're also going to have some kind of assurance.
Yeah, peace of mind
that they're going to get, if they have a leak in their roof or if something goes wrong, that they will have some kind of warranty there in place to help them. But that warranty doesn't need to be purchased with the mindset that it's going to last 25 years, because it's simply not going to happen in Florida.
No, definitely not. Not in Florida, not in the heat.
How many insurance companies are writing 22, 23-year-old shingle roofs?
Yeah, it's not happening.
Very slim if you
few.
do. Very slim if you do. I've went to a couple, and I say a couple, it's literally a couple people that have 20 plus year old shingle roofs that still have insurance, and they don't realize how much they're paying.
Or they don't realize that it's an actual cash value versus a full replacement on the roof.
We're going to get into that here in just a little bit.
Okay.
That's actually the next point. Replacement cost versus actual cash value on the roof. How can homeowners tell what they have and why it matters after a storm?
That's a great question. It's important to know to sit down with your agent every year to review your policy to determine that. A lot of people, they just want insurance without, looking at it. I like to go over to my clients and give them a scenario that if a hurricane did hit tomorrow, this is what your policy will and will not cover. It's important to know that because it's easy to call up somebody and get a quote over the phone, but without having an actual agent to sit down with and review that policy, you're kind of going off of, just what you think in your mind. But as far as the actual cash value and the full replacement, that's very important. You have a claim on a 10-year-old roof and you have actual cash value coverage on that roof. It's minus depreciation. What you really want is a full replacement on that roof. And that's very important when determining the difference between the two, because you may be paying a less on premium, but you're getting actual cash value on your roof replacement.
Okay. So let's break this down in roofers terms. I'll say roofers terms. So let's say you've got your roof is $20,000 and it's 10 years old. The lifespan of that's about 20 years. We can say 18 to 20 years. Let's just go for easy math, 20. So 10-year-old roof. So you're saying that, and this is just a rough estimate, but a 10-year-old roof that gets damaged, actual cash value on the insurance is only going to pay out about roughly 10 grand for that roof. Is that right?
Yeah, approximately. Yeah.
Okay. Minus their deductible.
Correct.
And that's going to leave them with, not nearly enough to do the roof. And a lot of people get that confused.
Not quite. Yeah,
not nearly enough to do the roof. Now, mind you, and I'll say this from the roofing point of things. I mean, it's just like insurance. Everything's going up every year. So if you bought a roof 10 years ago for 20 grand, there's a good chance that roof's going to be 25, 28,000 today's time.
Price of milk is not the same as it was 5 years ago.
Correct. Everything's going up except for people's paychecks, apparently.
Exactly.
But it's very important for people to know that, because people come to us and say, oh, we have insurance. Insurance is going to take care of it. But they should also know what policy they have, because if they have the expectation they're going to get a new roof out of, a storm situation, it's just simply not going to happen. They're not going to get enough money to cover it.
Correct.
And they need to, they need to reach out to their agent.
Yeah,
and
and
go
it's
over
very
that.
important to sit down with your agent every year at your renewal.
Mhm.
Go over it, ask questions. Give them the agent that what if this happens, that happens, and trust them to answer those questions for you.
Awesome. So I think with what we're going over here, I think some of these questions are going to be really good for homeowners to sit with their agent and ask, at the end of the year when it comes time for renewal. I think a lot of these questions is things that the homeowner should be asking their agent. For example, replacement cost versus actual cash value. That's something, hey, what is my policy? Because I feel like I got a pretty good rate right now, but if it's actual cash value, it's going to come to bite you in the butt later on if you're not
Right.
prepared for that. And it's, if you got money stashed away to do your roof or anything else, that's fine. But if you don't have that kind of money, it's worth it to pay a little bit more premium so that when something happens, you can,
Yeah. Exactly. Cheap insurance is amazing until you have to use it.
right.
So just
It's-
make sure you have the right
The
coverage.
same thing can be said about roofers. A cheap roofer's great until it rains.
That's true. Very true.
So what roof types, shingle, tile, metal, flat, are viewed most favorably by the insurance companies today, and why?
Yeah. So there's no, we don't distinguish as far as the shingle, the metal, or the tile. There is when writing a new policy, we do offer backing as far as a tile or a metal roof. We go back a little bit older on those than we do a shingle roof.
Okay.
And what's very important, another thing, this is no control over the homeowner really, but if it's a hip or a gable roof, understanding the difference, and as a roofer, if a windstorm comes and hits a hip roof, the wind's more likely to roll off of it. Whereas if it's a gable roof, it can just peel that roof right off.
Yep. At the gables, it's like it's a wall, so that
it really
wind's hitting
is
the wall. It much more likely to peel that thing off, exactly like you said. And a big question that we get: I want to put a standing seam metal on, or a standing seam metal roof. Any idea how long the insurance company is going to go before they say, "Hey, we need to look at this. Your roof's getting too old." Now, mind you, metal roofs are sold as a 40-year plus roof, whereas shingles only sold as an 18 to 20-year roof. Standing seam metal is at minimum double the cost of a shingle roof. So is it worth the investment as a homeowner to purchase a standing seam metal over shingle?
It's when I talk to clients and they ask me that question, as far as we're concerned, it doesn't matter. But like you said, the best bang for the buck is going to be the metal, as long as, financially it makes sense for the client. That's the best advice I can give them.
And I will say, from a roofing standpoint, metal roofs, if you go to a metal roof, so long as it was installed correctly, 20 years from now, you go on that roof versus a shingle roof that you put on at the same time, you can tell that shingle roof is old. That standing seam metal, it's going to be much better looking roof, and it's still going to have all the structural strength. Shingles, as they get old, they get brittle. They blow off much easier. And from an insurance point of view, I could understand not wanting to insure a old shingle roof. But with metal, they're much stronger. They last up, or they hold up much better in a high wind event like a hurricane. And we're in Florida. It's not a matter of if, it's when.
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to get the storms, and they just hold up much better. So metal's going to last a lot longer. And it sounds like, and from what I've seen, insurance companies are not hard on metal like they are with shingle roofs.
Yeah, because with the shingles, you're going to get it breaking down, over the heat, beating them up, and the granules, loss of granules, and just over time, just the wear and tear on the shingle roof.
Yep. That's shingle roofs are, if you can, it's not the same, but it'd be like if you threw an old tire out in the yard. If you let it sit outside for 15 years, it's going to get cracks in it. It's going to dry rot. Your shingle roof's going to do the same thing. Metal, it's metal. So long as it's not corroding, rusting out, things like that, the metal itself will last forever. Now, that's not to say that, there's pipe boots, there's some general maintenance stuff that you have to do on a metal roof, but it's nothing like a shingle roof. And tile, same thing. It's more like shingles because there's a lot of maintenance involved. We got a ton of golf courses. We're in Florida. There's a ton of golf courses golf balls hit tile roofs.
Guilty.
We have to deal with thermal shock. When summertime is here and it's 100 degrees outside, that roof temperature will get 150, 160 degrees, and we get that afternoon shower, and it cools off like that. That expansion and contraction causes little tiny fractures in those tiles, and they break. They slide down. It exposes that underlayment. The underlayment dry rots, and then you eventually have a leak. So there's a lot more maintenance with tile roofs than there is with metal.
Mhm.
Same as not so much with shingle. You don't have to worry about a shingle breaking or anything like that. But in a high wind event, they will peel back. You'll have some that come off and go missing. And you can repair them to a certain extent. Can you talk a little bit about that? Is there a certain percentage if we get a hurricane? Is there a set number that, okay, we have to have 40% worth of damage in order to cover your whole roof? How does that work?
No, there's no set number. That's a great question. I always refer back to our claims adjuster.
Okay.
When they go out and, assess the damage, and they're the ones that determine, the extent of the damage and what would and would not be covered.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the actual roof systems and how that can help homeowners with their premiums. So quick overview. What is a wind mitigation inspection and how does it impact premiums?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a uniform wind mitigation inspection form. It's a state of Florida form. And what it does is it provides your insurance company with a few different things that could affect your policy. And that's going to be how well the roof is attached to the home, the nailing pattern, whether they use clips, straps or toenails or, certain verbiage on there that, really you need to go back to your roofer and, ask them those questions as far as if my home has this or not. And that's when it's documented on the wind mitigation report.
Okay. Is the wind mitigation for the roof specifically, or is there other things involved with that wind mitigation?
No, there's two primary things that are used on there to document. It's going to be your roof and it's going to be your hurricane protection as far as windows and doors and things like that are documented on there.
So impact windows, doors,
Correct.
all that stuff can get that premium down even more.
Exactly.
Okay.
Those are the two driving factors for premiums.
Perfect. The third nail, this comes up and it's becoming very popular.
Oh yeah.
The third nail, what is it? Who installs it? And what kind of credits can homeowners realistically expect?
Yeah. So, there's 4 ways to attach the roof to the home or to the the truss, which is the number one is called a toenail, which you basically just drive a nail through the wood into the home.
Yep.
The next is going to be a clip, which is similar, but there's a piece of metal, square metal that has 3 nails in it. So now it's more secure than just driving a nail in it.
Right.
And there's a strap which actually wraps around the truss, which is even more secure. And there's a double strap. So the more secure, which is documented on the wind mitigation form, then the more the discount. Okay. So, and that's, a lot of people with older homes, they only have the toenails.
Yep.
So they don't have those clips.
We see it very frequently.
So it's why it's important, it's a huge difference in premium when you have those clips versus the toenails.
So that comes up in our world a lot. People ask, hey, can you add the third nail? And we will add the third nail if we're doing a new roof. We won't come back after the fact if they just got a new roof and they're like, I didn't even know about the third nail. And I thought my insurance was going to come way down because I put a new roof on. And while it may come down a little bit, they're not getting the max credit that they could.
Yeah.
There are companies out there that will come after the fact or, after a roof replacement and add the third nail. But the best time and the most cost effective time to do that is when you're putting a new roof on. It's super simple. When the roof comes off, we pull the wood off. It gives us access to the trusses. And if it only has a toenail, we can add a clip. If it's got straps and it only has 2 nails, then we can just add the additional nail. And the cost to do the strap on average is about, I don't know, on a shingle roof system. Obviously, if you've got a 2,000 square foot house and your shingle roof is 12,000, a tile roof is 20,000 and a metal roof is 30,000. it's going to be about 18 to 20% of that shingle roof cost. So you figure about $1 per square foot is roughly what we're experiencing on pricing to add the third nail to the trusses. And like you said, it gives people a much cheaper premium.
Yeah, they take that hit up front with paying to have that third nail put in, but you're saving thousands of dollars in some cases each year. So
it don't take that long. It's not like a 20-year investment where if you spend $3,000 now, you're going to save $150 a year. It's going to be significant. It's going to be much more.
And like you said, as far as having it done, when you're doing the roof, if you don't, then I'm sure you can agree that's a lot of, getting up there, crawling through the attic access. And
I won't have my guys do it. It's just for us, it's too, the risk versus reward just isn't there. When you go and get in tight spaces in attics, there's a good chance you're going to, at some point you're going to knock somebody's ceiling through, and then you're going to have to be paying to repair the ceilings, and it's super hot. You don't want to, I just don't want to get into that. Whereas when we're doing the roof, we're already right there. We can open it up, do what we have to do, close the roof back up, new roof. Everything's great. You're going to get your discount. You got a brand new roof.
That makes sense.
You're good to go.
Yeah.
Secondary water barrier. What counts as a secondary water barrier for credits, and what documentation do carriers want?
So the secondary water barriers is documented on the wind mitigation report. And as far as, I can't really explain much of that other than it's documented on there. I'll refer that back to you to explain exactly what it is.
Explain exactly what it is. So the secondary water barrier, it's a peel and stick underlayment that is applied directly to the roof deck. In many cases, new construction homes, a lot of older homes, they had, your traditional felt, 15-pound felt, 30-pound felt, or in some cases, synthetic. And today, per code, you can still use synthetic felt as your underlayment, but that's not going to give you that secondary water barrier discount. Typically, on nearly every roof that we sell, we put a peel and stick underlayment to the entire roof deck, and that will give you your secondary water barrier discount. The other alternative is if you have plywood, you can tape the seams, and that will also give you a secondary water barrier discount. But it's almost, by the time you factor in the time and labor to do the taping of the seams, it's better to just do the peel and stick underlayment to the entire deck. Number one, it's self-sealing. So, and the whole idea behind a secondary water barrier, when we get a high wind event, if it blows all your shingles off your roof, then you have that underlayment and it's going to protect the inside of your home, and you're much less likely to have, catastrophic damage from flooding because your roof is just gone and it's just pouring in. Where with synthetic felt or traditional felt, if it's strong enough to tear the shingles off, it's going to tear that felt off as well. Whereas with the peel and stick, it's going to be there. It's got to take the plywood with it.
Okay.
And if it gets strong enough for that, then, you got bigger problems.
Yeah, major problems.
You got major problems. You better just pray you make it through all the way. And so that's what secondary water barrier is. And for tile roofs, same thing. All your tile roofs are going to have, for the most part, they're going to have a secondary water barrier. Same thing. It gets applied. The tile underlayment is a peel and stick underlayment. It gets applied directly to the roof deck. So they're going to get that secondary water barrier discount there. But that's not the biggest discount. That biggest discount is from that third nail, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep. Huge discount.
And the idea behind the third nail is, if I'm correct in what I'm saying, it protects the home. It gives it more wind uplift. So if we do get a strong wind event, it's less likely to pick the entire truss system off of the house and just leave four walls, right? Because most homes in Florida are concrete, so we don't really have to worry about that part blowing away. But everything on the roof is wood. So by adding more fasteners into it, it gives you a stronger wind uplift so that there's less chance of something catastrophic happening to the home. And both of these come back to the insurance company and give you guys less risk. So the less risk you have, the better premiums you're able to offer. Is that correct?
That's correct. Absolutely. And you can, on that wind mitigation report, the nailing pattern is important also. You have a 6-inch versus a 12-inch, nailing pattern. I'm assuming that you guys mostly do 6-inch, right? When you put the roof on?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. That's standard. That's code. We have to do that.
Okay.
So anything less than 6-inch, we have to bring it up to code. So the roof has to be re-nailed regardless.
Perfect.
That's not, secondary water barrier. It's optional. You don't have to put that on because you have the option to go with a double layer of synthetic. Code will allow that. With the nailing pattern of the plywood, that has to be done. The third nail isn't a requirement if it is less than 15% of the contract value. So if your roof is 10 grand and the nailing or the third nail is 2 grand, you don't have to do it. But it just makes sense because you spend a couple grand now, you're probably going to save that in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
If not sooner.
Definitely makes sense to spend that extra to have that.
So here again, those two things are something that is not required, but the nailing of the deck is.
Okay.
So on a new roof, what's the cleanest way for a homeowner to make sure their contractor's documentation will translate into insurance credits?
So for a new roof, I mean, there's no wind mitigation required for a new roof because, like you said, the state requires to be built certain specs. So we honor that and give them the max amount of credits.
Okay. So I will hit on that. So while it may not be required, at Blue Collar Roofing, we include a wind mitigation with all of our new roofs. So we pay an independent inspector to go out and do their wind mitigation report. So they're going to check for that secondary water barrier discount. They're going to check for the third nail. So if you have the third nail, you can get that discount. If it's something we installed at the time of the new roof, they'll check it off. So you get all the credits that you need. And that's something that we do complimentary with all of our new roofs.
That's great.
And while you may not be required to have it, I would suggest that you get it done because many roofers are putting on the secondary, at the very least, the secondary water barrier. Most roofers are going to do that. There's some out there that are still putting the synthetic on. But I would highly recommend if you get a new roof and they didn't send a home inspector to get a wind mitt done, I would recommend that they independently get that done so that they can submit it to their insurance just to make sure that they have their credits.
No harm, no foul. It's great to have it. Plus, like you said earlier, it's a peace of mind because that's going to document, the way that, the roof was installed and put on.
Yeah. These inspections cost $150. And if you just had a new roof put on, you let your insurance company know, they go in the county portal and they say, okay, yeah, you pulled the permit. It's closed out. You're good.
Yeah.
We're going to give you that credit for the new roof.
But
your wind mitigation that we have on file doesn't say anything about a secondary water barrier discount. So it'd be worth it to spend that $150 to have an independent adjuster come out, or a home inspector rather, to do that and submit to your insurance.
It's
agent.
always great to have.
All right. If a homeowner did improvements last year but never filed the new wind mitt report, can they still get credits retroactively?
That depends on the carrier. It's carrier specific. So that's definitely, going back to having that review with your agent. Any changes you have done to your home, that could increase the value of your home or a new roof or whatever it may be, is to definitely contact your agent and have him or her look over your policy and determine if there's any additional coverage that is needed or any discounts that may apply. Okay.
Another question. If somebody builds an addition onto their, let's say a back porch.
Okay.
All right. And it's wood construction, not aluminum or anything like that. Wood construction, and it ties into their existing house. They did so without a permit. They put a roof on. Will that be covered under their insurance if they made a claim?
So they did not pull a permit?
They did not pull a permit.
Yeah, that's going to be, it's going to be a tricky one there, but I have it all the time where somebody may have a partial, an overhang or something like that, where they'll have it reshingle or have it, replaced. Right. But that's not replacing your full roof. So we can't update the age of the roof just by a partial replacement.
So that would be more of a case by case situation. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go into claims and documentations. One thing every homeowner should do this week to lower risk on premiums? What's something they could do retroactively?
Retro, I mean, it's the two biggest, discounts or something they can do are going to be the impact windows or a new roof. There's going to be the two driving factors.
So I would say they call their agent and just see where they stand.
Yeah.
And you can speak more on that, but call up your agent. I know you have our homeowners.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm a roofer, so I know we put the third nail on our roof. We put the secondary water barrier. I know where we stand. We don't have impact windows. But that's the only thing, that's the only credit, I guess, that we're not getting.
Right. And it doesn't have to be the windows. You can have the shutters that can go up just to kind of, there's different credits can be applied for different protection over the windows and doors.
Okay. So basically it sounds like anything you do to your home to try to prevent any damage from happening to it, going to lower your premium for the most part.
Yep. And like, I'll go back and I preach it, review, sit down with your agent, go over your policy, each line and make sure you understand it.
Okay. Yeah. That's a big thing. Cause me personally, I'm a man. I don't really go into that stuff. I kind of let my wife deal with all that.
Sure.
So all the wives out there, I would say, get on the phone, talk to your agent.
Yeah. They're the bosses. So they keep us in check.
Where can listeners reach you, Clint?
You can call me at my office. I'll give you the phone number. It's 941-531-9738. And even if I don't, have your homeowner's insurance, if you have a question about it, something I can look at, as long as it's, insurance terminology, I can try to help you with it or give you the right questions to ask your current agent. I'm open to look at those with you and do a comparison and it's very important going back and looking at that coverage.
Second opinions never hurt. We do the same thing with our customers. Hey, listen, if you want to sign with another roofer, okay, that's great. But would you mind sharing with us what you're getting? Because we genuinely care about our community and we want people to get what they should.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, little things like the secondary water barrier, the peel and stick underlayment. A lot of people will say that we're going to install a premium underlayment. And in many cases, that's a premium synthetic underlayment, not a peel and stick underlayment. So they're not going to get that discount. So while their roof may be $1,000 cheaper, it's going to cost them more money because they're not going to get the discount from their homeowners.
Right. It could be a higher premium in some cases.
It could seem like it is cheaper, but it's really costing them more money. So second opinions never hurt. If they need a roof inspection or a second opinion, here's how you can reach us. Blue Collar Roofing, 941-933-7663. We're on Facebook, Instagram. You can message us there. We're located in Bradenton, Florida. If you have any roof issues, please give us a call. I'm going to do some quick fire, some local stuff.
Okay.
Let me pull this up. All right. Quick fire. Coffee or sweet tea?
Coffee.
Really?
Yeah, it's just, it speaks to me. I'm not opposed to sweet tea, but my doctor says I gotta watch it. So I've been more of a just straight black coffee guy lately.
Okay. My wife loves coffee too, but I'm a sweet tea man. Fishing or football?
Football.
I know. Yeah,
I can't catch a fish for nothing.
Me neither, but I like to go on the boat. Beach day or boat day?
Beach day.
Beach day. All right. Gators or Seminole?
Neither.
Who you for?
Volunteers.
Oh, you're
I'm a Tennessee guy. It's where I'm from. So
where was you born?
Johnson City, Tennessee. Small town east of Knoxville. So
okay. So a little bit about me. I was born in Florida. When I was little, we moved to Tennessee.
Okay.
I lived near Jackson, Tennessee.
Gotcha.
So I was on the west side of Tennessee. You was on the beautiful side of Tennessee.
I was in the mountains.
The west side not nearly as pretty as over there. Ribs or brisket?
Ribs.
Me too. Brisket's one of those things, dude. It's
a hit and miss.
It's hit and miss. When it's good, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, it's like, I don't know. It's like leather.
It's disappointing.
It sucks. Country music, classic rock.
Country music.
Yeah, my man. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Yeah.
I'm 8, 9 o'clock in bed.
One thing you can't leave the house without.
Got my cell phone. That's my business right there.
I think that's everybody nowadays, even if it's not their business.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I live off my phone too. Like emails,
same.
everything's.
And I'm easy to get in touch with. I'm on Facebook too, so I come to every morning. I wake up. I've got multiple quote requests on Facebook where referrals or word of mouth. I don't do a lot of advertising. I'm a word of mouth guy, so I get a lot of requests on Facebook.
You're super popular on Facebook. You got a good following there.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate and blessed.
A lot of referrals on Facebook. A lot of shout outs.
We try to do the right thing. We take care of our client.
Yeah. Well, that's important. We do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're not just trying to sell roofs to make a buck.
Exactly.
We live here, we work here. Half the time I go to Publix, I see somebody that we did their roof for. Oh, hey, you guys did my roof. It's like, okay, cool.
Same thing. I used to throw on some shorts with the holes in them and sleeveless shirt. Now I can't do that anymore. When I go, I got to look presentable because I'm seeing my clients everywhere.
All right. So this is going to be insurance work related.
Okay.
Favorite thing about being an agent?
Just the people I get to interact with and help.
Yeah. So you're kind of like roofing. You're interacting with a lot of different people all the time.
A lot.
You get to see both ends of the spectrum, people really, people with really high end homes on the beach all the way to, a little shack like mine in Parrish.
Hey man, it's all about, it's all about helping and doing the right thing.
Paperwork or phone calls? Which would you rather do?
Phone calls.
Yeah. Me too. I hate paperwork. Paperwork. If you want me to do paperwork, that's where things go to die.
Yeah, exactly.
On types of policies, would you rather work on a wind mitigation policy or wind mitigation like hurricane policy or flood policy?
I don't really have a preference.
No preference?
No preference.
Is there any difference in the two? Do you recommend, or just go into detail about the difference in flood policy and a wind policy?
Yeah.
So if a hurricane comes and say it floods out the house, is that covered under the wind policy or is that flood?
Flood. There's a little confusion there. So flood is anything water rising from the ground up. Anything like that, a lot of people think because of, a hurricane, the wind is going to be the major factor. And it's a lot of cases, the water. Yeah. When we get 9-10 inches of water, I think we've seen that
last year.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people that weren't in a high flood zone got flooded. So it's important to have that coverage.
All right. Biggest insurance myth you hear?
Biggest insurance myth is that the agent can control the rates.
Come on, man.
I'm telling you, I know. I'd say if I could, my policy be the first one I would lower.
I hear you. Yeah, that's that's a whole thing. So many people's like, oh yeah, my guy, he can get you the best price, but at the end of the day, not really the agent.
It's not. All the time.
There is. So I take that back. There is a certain role that the agent plays in it. Obviously, you're going to do your due diligence for your customers. You're going to shop the rates and, try to get them the best deal or the same coverage for a cheaper rate if you can find it. But at the end of the day, the rates are the rates.
The rates are the rates. I get all the time and somebody says, hey, can you check, can you quote this for me against what I currently have? And they'll send me their current policy and they'll white out the premium. I'm like, it really didn't matter what my rate is my rate. Yeah. I'm not going to see what you're paying now and say, oh, I can get it lower.
We deal with some of that with roofs. Like, so-and-so can do it for 5,000 cheaper. Well, I'm sorry. I don't know what they're doing now with roofing. It's a little different because you got different companies. You might have a one-man show. You can have a guy that's got his roofing license and he just goes out and does repairs and he can do the repair for a lot cheaper than we can.
Yeah.
Because we're paying people. We have general liability insurance, workers' comp, whereas this one man, he can get workers' comp exempt. He can have the bare minimum general liability. So there's different factors that go into quoting a roof.
Yeah. I'm sure with your business, as soon as you start that truck, you're paying, you got fuel, insurance, where you got all those costs associated with your business.
Yep. Our repair truck has, as soon as it leaves the driveway, it's costing us X amount of dollars per day.
Right.
And it's not, one of our core values is neighbors, not numbers. We give people a fair price, but we also charge enough so that we are able to stay in business so that we can honor our warranties if something goes wrong. So that we'll be here for the long haul.
Yeah.
And that's very important. It seems like, especially when it starts to get slow, it's a race to the bottom. Everybody's like, oh, well, I'll beat it by 500. You know, your cheapest price, whatever you get, I'll do it for 500 less than that. And it's like, dude, that's not us. We're not going to do that. We're not the cheapest roofer. We're not the most expensive, but you are going to get what you pay for when it comes to roofing.
I agree 100%.
If you weren't in insurance, what job would you want?
Oh, wow. So if I wasn't in insurance, I don't know. That's a tough one because I really love what I do. I never thought about doing anything else.
You've done it your whole life, right?
No, I come from a law enforcement background. So I was a police officer for about 14 years before I got into insurance.
Nice.
So, you know, if I could do anything other than this, I'm not sure. It'd be something fun. You know, I can't.
I've said the same thing, but I don't know. Like,
what would you do?
I don't know. Like I grew up and around roofing. I really don't know what I would do. Ideally, in a perfect world, I would like to be a charter captain.
That would be cool.
I love to fish.
Yeah.
And I'm not good at it, but I wouldn't make a living at it because,
yeah.
But if I had the choice, like if I hit the lottery and I just had a ton of money, I would probably do some chartering every now and then.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just to get out because I love being on the boat.
Yeah, and it's fun.
It's just fun for me. So that's something and a lot of people say it's not really a job, but that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Some guys make a living at it. Roofing, shingle, tile, or metal?
Ooh, I like metal. You know, I grew up in a small little town in East Tennessee, and my parents still had the same metal roof they had when I grew up.
Yep.
You know, it's lasted, and just hearing the rain on it, you know, and just peaceful going to sleep.
That's one thing I don't care for. I don't care for the sound of the metal roof.
Okay.
Doesn't really bother me, but you know, a lot of people's like, I just love the sound of a metal roof.
Yeah.
I don't really care about that, but metal roofs are just beautiful. They just look really good.
Yeah.
Shingle, it gets you by.
Yeah. If my HOA allowed it, if my HOA would allow it, I would have metal.
All right. Work hard or pray hard?
Wow, you got to have a good balance there. I'd say pray hard first.
Good answer.
Work hard.
Good answer. I think it's really hard to have one without the other because you have to have some kind of balance there.
Yeah.
You know, if not, you go crazy. If it's all work.
That's right.
You can't keep up with it. You gotta have an out, and very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta have the faith, man. That comes before anything else.
Yep. Best local spot to grab lunch in Manatee County.
Oh, in Manatee County, local spot. Well, I'm in Ellington, so a lot of my stuff's in Parrish. So I go with the local mom and pops. I'm a Shake Station, a Ferraro's, and good ones. Shout out to those guys, Sal and Andy. Great guys, great restaurants. So I can go with either one of those.
What's your favorite sub shop?
Wow, there's a new one that opened, Gateway Subs, right next to my office.
Dude, they're phenomenal.
Wow.
They are phenomenal.
They crinkle up the potato chips and put them on your sub. It's just, it's very unique.
I wasn't even thinking about that, but I was thinking of PJ's.
Oh, PJ's for sure.
PJ's is good, but we stopped at Gateway recently and we've been back 2 or 3 times. They're good.
It's addictive. They're really good.
And then last question.
Okay.
Best wing spot.
Ooh.
Or top 3. Give me the top 3 in Manatee County.
Top 3 in Manatee County. I don't go to Wing House anymore because it's right next to my office. So I kind of, I've had enough of that. Not saying, you give or take on those. You don't know what you're going to get, but wing places. I really like the wings at Shake Station. They're good there. Andy
really, Shake Station.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had Shake Station's wings.
Yeah, I think unless you stop, I've been trying to watch it lately. So as far as hitting the wings and stuff, I've been,
No, I get it. So currently my favorite wing spot is Miller's.
Okay.
Miller's on 64.
I'm gonna have to try 'em.
They got really good wings.
What do you go with? Like barbecue, mild, hot?
The honey mustard. Usually I'm a hot wing.
Yeah.
Buffalo hot wing. And that's what I like with ranch, so don't.
Are you a ranch guy? No blue cheese?
Melissa likes blue cheese. I'm a ranch guy. I hate blue cheese. I just don't like it. Never have. But their honey mustard wings are delicious.
Okay.
And Melissa got them one time and I tried one. I'm like, dude, that's really good.
I've never heard of honey mustard wings.
Then I got them again and they're consistently good. And I've got them 3 or 4 times now. And it's at Miller's too. Like I never I wouldn't have expected Miller's
Yeah.
to have good wings. Another one is Wings and Things off Lockwood Ridge.
Okay. I've had those. Really good.
They have good wings. And then a third, I would say probably Kelsey's.
Okay.
Kelsey's off of Cortez. I think they're off Cortez. But they got good wings too. So, all right, Clint. Well, that's all I got. Thank you for being with us.
Hey, I appreciate it, Kevin. Thank you.
Again, if you guys have any questions, this is Clint Bailey with Florida Farm Bureau. Reach out to him. If nothing else, have your policies checked. And I'm Kevin with Blue Collar Roofing. If you guys have any roof issues, let us know.
Appreciate it, Kevin. Thank you.
All right.